Ha! The stream starts in 10 minutes, guys. We're just waiting for Bethesda to set up. Then I'm going to be live streaming it with you guys. We're going to be watching the Fallout 76 Q&A, sitting together. I thought it was quite funny. This broadcast may include content inappropriate for children. I'm kind of like half expecting Todd Howard to walk on stage with his boys, just like flash his nipples and then leave, and then that'll be it. That'll be the show. But I'm hyped for that. And it looks like the chat is as well, because I can't even read it right now. It's going so fast. So I'll be back here in like several minutes. Hopefully there'll be a countdown, and then we can start watching together. I'm so excited. Finally they're going to answer the questions they hopefully should have answered all that time ago. I'll see you guys in a minute. Goodbye. Spooky! Starts in 5 minutes, guys. Only a few more minutes to go, guys. Welcome back, guys. My name is ESO, and we're going to be watching the Fallout 76 press conference together. It's going to be a Q&A with my boy Todd Howard. Good to see you in the chat, Bacon Butty. So, it's going to be a press conference with Todd Howard and the boys. Don't think Pete Hines is taking part himself. He's been answering enough questions on Twitter as it is. So hopefully we can sit here and listen to these answers and gain a bit more of an insight as to what Fallout 76 is actually going to be like. Yeah, it's a $60 game, a multiplayer game, something completely new for Bethesda. So I'm intrigued, because I think they did a really bad job of explaining what the game is going to be like. So, you know, I'm remaining hopeful and I'm excited for whatever we're going to get. Here we go. We're going to start off with the trailer. We've got some techno music going, guys.
What's up, QuakeCon? Welcome to the Fallout 76 panel. You guys excited? I see some really cool cosplayers over there. Welcome. Yeah. All right, ready to get started? I'm Gary Steinman. Oh, somebody loves you, Todd.
Come on, Todd, introduce yourself.
You should all put your masks on. we need a mask picture. All right, hold on.
We're taking pictures of the crowd now. This is very serious.
Love it. That's awesome.
They needed the entrance music, you know. It's understandable.
So I'm Gary Steinman, and for the next hour, I'll be chatting with a team from Bethesda Game Studios, picking your brains about Fallout 76, getting the answers to lots of questions.
That's a long question.
Questions we gathered from a lot of you guys in the community, the tough questions that they've been dying to hear answers for. But before we jump in, I'd love to play the official trailer for Fallout 76, the one we debuted at E3
Let's watch it again.
2 months ago.
Let's do that.
Because honestly, I could watch that trailer again and again and again.
Oh, we have.
So why don't we all watch it together again right now?
Everyone in the audience is hyped. They're like, again. Just gonna turn the desktop music down for this so we don't get copyright striked with the old country roads. I mean, we've seen the trailer quite a few times now. We've talked about it to death. Our Lord and Savior, Todd Howard, exactly. That's definitely bigger than my thumb, guys. I think we're fucked. I think it's going to be a good game. I'm excited. I'm going to be live streaming it every day, and I get to play with you guys for the first time. For someone who like plays RPGs all the time, I think that's going to be pretty cool. I mean, I'm sure you guys don't mind if I talk over the trailer. It's been out for a few months now. We've done it to death. But hey, this is Vault 76.
Sprawling underground shelter may have been engineered by Vault Tech, but it was built by you.
I will turn up the volume again. Don't worry.
Our way of life
I've got the desktop audio on very low at the moment just because I want to be able to talk over the trailer. Sing along, ESO. I don't think so. Oh. T-51 power armor sucks. Hey man, it's all they have out there in West Virginia. The sad thing is we're going to have no NPCs in this game, which is very interesting. You know, I'm intrigued as to what these questions are, because when you hand-pick the questions, it's like, this is what you're allowed to ask us. They're going to clearly have a lot of stuff prepared, ready to answer. So we'll see, you know, what we actually get. Hopefully they do a good job of answering the questions. I think there's going to be, you know, at the end of the video, I'll be speculating a lot as to what more we know after seeing this. But here we go, we're at the end of the trailer, so let's turn up the desktop volume up again. Take your head out of this, dude. Mate, people are here to see me and listen to my thoughts. You can watch it on Twitch if you like. You don't have to watch it with me.
Minds, and ultimately, America itself.
But I'll be quiet during the Q&A, don't worry. I'm as interested as you guys.
In Vault 76, our future begins.
As soon as you walk out there, you're going to get PvP killed. Alright, let's go. Give me the Q&A.
This doesn't get old.
No, it doesn't.
It's going to be
We're
monsters,
gonna start
yeah.
clapping. Seriously, I got goosebumps.
Yeah. It's like a
was
religious
awesome.
experience, like a communal experience, hearing people, watching some of you sing along to the song. It's amazing. Yeah. Stuck in our heads forever. So let's get started. I'd like to introduce the team here, starting with Development Director Chris Meyer, who also happens to be a local or extended local. You're right down the road in Austin.
Austin, Texas. I've been there since '95, so
Yeah.
it's a great city, Austin.
Project leader Jeff Gardner. And of course, game director Todd Howard.
Will they talk about microtransactions? Yeah, maybe. Apparently, they're all going to be aesthetic, and you'll be able to get them in the game anyway.
And
That's
Gary.
what Todd said
Well,
before.
I introduced myself.
I don't know if that's going to hold
I'm
true.
Gary. Gary.
Happy birthday,
Promise tough
Bobita.
questions, and they'll come, but let's start with an easy one, or what should be an easy one. Todd, what exactly is Fallout 76?
Nobody knows.
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
I mean, the short answer is, I think people know, Fallout 76 is an open-world RPG set in the Fallout universe that has a lot of systemic and survival qualities. And the big difference with other games or games that we've done, are that every character you see is a real human that is playing the game, and that creates some really
Sounds like DayZ at the
exciting
moment.
scenarios that we never can anticipate.
You used the word systemic, and we've got Chris here, who worked on one of the
want, like, the
granddaddies of all
details, though.
systemic
We know
online games,
this.
Ultima Online. And now you're working on Fallout 76. Tell us about your journey to work on this game, but also your excitement, your experience, and what you're bringing to Fallout 76 in terms of that kind of systemic online game.
Ultima Online is the reason I'm in the industry. It was the first game I worked on, and how I cut my teeth working on sandbox games with lots and lots of players. So it is a dream come true to sort of bring that experience to the Fallout universe, which is a beloved franchise for me personally.
And what do you do? So, Jeff,
He
what do
likes
you
Fallout.
do hour to hour, minute to minute in the game? I mean, people know what a Fallout game is and what you do in a Fallout game. Is it similar here? Do you have quests? Do you have activities? What goes on?
We're getting
You
there.
have quests, tons of systemic activities. I mean, it's very similar to the Fallout you know and love. The major difference is obviously, as you've heard, it's online. And there's a lot of tension created with other characters. Are they friendly? Are they foes? We really
what
got
everyone's
into the
worried about.
survival elements and the crafting elements of the game, the workshop and camp elements. So we really hope it's really like a place that once you're in it, you're sucked in for hours. We find at work, like, we just sucked hours go by, and we're like, oh my God, I got work to do. And we're still playing the game. So it's wonderful. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I think and people who come to the office and play it, at first they're like, this is the Fallout I know and love. So I think like 80% of it probably is the Fallout everyone is used to, and the other 20% is
I guess it is though.
really
If you're playing it like in the
and
studio with
it's
your
at times a little hard to
friends, then I guess it
explain,
is. It's like us having a private server.
You know, this is the flow and how it feels. Because at one point it's comfortable, on the other side it's all new.
Which brings me to another variation on that question. Is this the right game for Fallout fans?
Well, I think so, but I don't really know. There are so many types of Fallout fans, right? You see everybody here, and there's so many things in our games, and some people love just the exploration, the character building, the stories, the combat, crafting, and so it has all of those things. Obviously, the thing it doesn't have are NPCs that are going to be specific characters that tell you a story that we've written. We love those things. We understand a lot of our fans love those things. And this one replaces that with the other players. They are the interesting NPCs.
We're saving money.
Hopefully, in a lot of ways, more interesting than what we may create on our own. So that part's very different. I can't say it's better or worse, but when you sit down and play it, it feels like a new
Don't
Fallout.
paint it out to be Fallout, because I feel like it's not got the same questing in
We've talked about this around the office a little bit too. There's no one type of Fallout fan, is there?
No, not at all. And if you look at the old games, you're coming from an isometric, more turn-based type thing to what today is it has more adventure elements in terms of exploring a world and what that means to feel like living in that world. And that's something that still is very important to us at the studio in terms of, for the time you're in it, it has to feel real, despite it being a video game and menu stuff like. Sure. And that's what sucks you in when we play it. It's reached the point in the office where really we don't want to stop playing it. It has a very slow burn, but you feel like I am this person in this world, and learning how to survive and learning how to conquer it. It's very rewarding.
Give me that slow burn.
The other big question I have is, why now? Why is now the right time for an online Fallout?
Well, we figured we wouldn't do it till we had done 70 more versions of Fallout, so we went right to 76. I don't know is a good answer for that. We had talked early on. We had, talked with Chris, who was down in Austin, the team there. We had some ideas of what multiplayer could look like. We started that during Fallout 4, really on paper. And Chris and some of the other folks in Austin actually started right when we were starting to finish Fallout 4.
That just blows my mind.
To see, how it could feel, what it could look like, and it kind of grew from there.
Yeah, it was great. It was taking a game that we love, Fallout 4.
I mean, if this works though, it's only a matter of time for an Elder Scrolls online game, not ESO,
which is great.
But one like Fallout 76.
And then this one is for you, Jeff.
It won't be in VR.
You've got to herd many cats in your role. And now you've got these cats that are not just in Maryland, and not just in Montreal, and not just in Austin, but yesterday we announced that we have BGS Dallas
They've got
as
a
part
new
of the
studio.
family. So you've got a team spread across North America.
Yeah. Great group.
How are you not pulling your hair out?
Well,
I still don't really know what the game is yet.
But it's, it's amazing.
That's what I want to find out from
so
this
many
Q&A.
talented people across these teams with great leadership, and this has been a learning curve for me too. It's my first online game, so without guys like Chris Romero who have done it for years, I'd
Do
really
you plan
be
to
lost
stop
at sea.
playing Skyrim? No.
It's an amazing experience to be able to go to Montreal and work with.
They're going to
folks
have
that are doing all
gameplay
graphics
of the
and
new
they've done
perks, new
awesome
character
gameplay
builds,
and
and
a
lots of
network
bits and bobs like that.
experts. It's bringing
That's
this
what we've
all
been
together
told.
in a way that has been. It's been a 3-year project, right? So it's gone and gone and gone, and we've done this really quickly. We iterate really fast, and everyone is really good about communicating. And we fall short here and there, but we all have what's best in mind for the game is always our number one thing, not ego.
I'm going to go
we
into
always
it
focus
with an
on that
open
goal,
mind.
and we're so excited to show.
I'm not expecting it to be
And
like
for you,
the other
Chris,
Fallout games, though.
You recently joined.
I think
or
if you do, you might be
relatively recently
disappointed.
joined the BGS family. What's it like, the culture here, and
Especially because they've ripped all the NPC quests and dialogues out of the game.
Once I
So
got over
it's not the
awe
same,
of
is it?
actually being a part of Bethesda Games franchise, they make franchises that I've loved forever, starting with Morrowind. But after that, adapting to their culture, they're a very iterative studio, which I like. I love that we play the game every day, sometimes all day, and keep making improvements every time we make
I would
a
be
new build.
great
And that's-
working for
it's a great
Bethesda, wouldn't I?
culture,
I'd just
a
play
great thing to be a
Skyrim
part
all
of.
day,
I
every
love
day, and they'd
working with
pay
all
me
the
to do it.
teams.
It'd be fantastic.
That's great. So, you brought some new stuff, Todd. And to be honest with everyone out here, I only saw this stuff maybe an hour ago, so it's still fresh to me too. Stuff about the character progression, perks, and whatnot. Why don't you tell us what we're about to
look through the questions everybody has about the game. One of the big ones is, how does the character system work? Given that it's an online multiplayer game. So we have a bunch of stuff to show you all in the game, how the character system works. And we'll go through and explain it. One of the things that we're doing, we showed a little bit of it at E3, the You Will Emerge videos from our friends at Vault-Tec. And so we've done these videos for several sections in the game, and we thought we would show you first here at QuakeCon the one that deals with perks. So we can roll it.
Here we go. We're going to have a little perk clip. Give me the gameplay, though. Oh, so this is all the mutations. This could be really interesting.
Will emerge. Today's episode, Being a Better You. In life, we must each deal with the hand we are dealt, performing our assigned role to the best of our capacity. But after total atomic annihilation, you may find the hand you were dealt has been reshuffled. Yes, gone are the simple days of yesteryear. Now the common workman must also be a covert operative. The farmer, a master of the martial arts. The ice cream man, a nuclear physicist.
So you can't master everything.
How will you make sense of it all? Simple. Turn to your official Vault-Tec training materials. With these powerful tools in hand, you'll learn to make the most of your natural abilities and better understand what makes you special.
So I already have a video about this.
Use them to be the best you can be, or someone even better. Your survival depends on it. With your future secure, share your newfound knowledge with others for great benefit.
You can share your perk cards.
But remember, there's power in diversity.
This drunk guy. That'll be me. That's how I'm
Sometimes who
gonna play
we
the
are
game.
isn't a choice at all. In fact, at a particular point in your young life, you may notice that your body has begun going through certain unfamiliar changes.
Puberty.
No, it's not puberty.
Oh.
It's mutation. Thanks to our old pal radiation, your DNA has become more interesting. See here? You've now gained the unique abilities of a marsupial in exchange for a mild neurological impairment.
It's gonna be like the Call of Duty game, isn't it? Just
Now
running
you've
and jumping
learned how
about.
to be a better you. You are completely prepared to achieve your full potential in the role of your choosing. As a hand-picked resident of Vault 76,
I wanna see-
it is your duty to carefully review your Vault-Tec-provided films yearly to fully prepare for the day when you will emerge.
I want to see the action mutations in game. Do they actually change your character with all these really interesting, cool features? Like that guy had bare hands and stuff.
Okay, Todd.
You know,
That
I
was
don't
a lot of
think
fun.
so to that extent.
But I think we all have more questions now.
But we knew
Yeah,
about this already.
We'll take a little bit of a deeper dive here.
So
There's a
nothing
lot to
new.
go through, and we'll do our best to explain it. The video does a great job of selling the IDOC parts of it. The mutation part is pretty fun. Your character can actually get mutated.
That's cool.
But the perk system and how you develop your character, we've done a lot of interesting things there. But let's just jump right in and show you a little bit of the character creation when you first start.
Yes.
You wake up in the vault.
It's like
It's
Fallout
Reclamation Day. We have a full, customize your character like we've had before. It's even better now. And
Just stop speaking.
let's go a little bit. You get to take your ID badge. We've added this photo mode in the game that's really, really cool.
Oh yeah, look like poses.
The photo mode allows you to
Bust
change
a
your
move.
field of view, zoom in, zoom out, and you'll see all the filters that are coming up.
Oh,
you
wow,
can do
that's
this
creepy.
both here when you take your badge. It's like a training tutorial for it. And then you can do it anytime you want out in the wild with your friends, with dead enemies, with live enemies. We've
With dead
also
players.
added this to our load screen system. There's not a lot of loads in our game, but when you fast travel, there's a little one. And so any of the pictures you've taken there will pop up like a random
Hey, I
deck
just killed
with
this
alongside
player. Better
curated
take a
photos.
selfie with their corpse.
We really, came out of a game jam. We do these game jams in the middle of projects to see what new features we want to try to add in.
It's like
and this was one of our
Snapchat in
favorite
Fallout
ones.
76.
Yeah, it turned out really, really great.
And fun for socially shareable stuff too, even
Exactly.
offline. You
share
could
it,
you
take
kind of
pictures with your friends. And so, again, you make your character as a whole host of it. You can take pictures where you want. You can also, anytime in the game, change how your character looks. Because you're going to play a character for a long time, and you can swap out, change your sex, anything, your hair, everything, just so that you don't feel like, well, I don't like how I picked in the very first second what I look like. Really,
Thanks for
really
the
cool
sponsor,
feature.
bro.
Next, we'll show you stepping out of the vault and the first level up and kind of dig into that some.
Yes. Let's go.
So if you hit level 2 when you step out, you kind of complete the initial vault thing. And the first thing you do when you level up is
Perk
pick a
card.
special that you want to increase. If you played previous
okay.
Fallouts, we have all the 7 specials. And after you pick the one you want to increase, you then pick a perk in that special. So here we're choosing Gladiator, which is a melee perk. And then that is a card. As you can see, the perk system, the perks are cards. And then you equip those, and every special is a pool of points for the cards you want to equip. And each card has, I don't want to say mana cost, but a point cost for how powerful that card is, and do you have the right special for equipping it.
right. And is it flexible or
You end
or
up
am I
with
jumping
balanced
ahead? Do you have-
builds in PvP, I guess.
There's some more on that we can get into and show you how
I like this
flexible it
idea.
is
I
and
think
why
that's
we
good.
made some of the choices that we did. But let's keep going,
Okay.
and then we can spend some time when
Sure.
we see a more
Stop
complete
asking
character.
questions. Let me explain.
Okay, this is a level up to level 4. So we picked some more cards. We wanted to show you how the cards themselves rank up.
Okay.
So you can pick that card again. So by picking Gladiator again, you can then combine that card with the other one to create a more powerful version, but it costs more points. So
Right.
sometimes you may decide, well, I only want the 1-point version equipped for my character
Gonna be
build
so many combos.
versus the more powerful 2-point version because I'm using my strength stats in some other way. Yeah, so I think that probably
cool.
makes sense, yes. I hope.
But there's more than 4 levels in the game.
The levels keep going up and up and up. We don't want to
Right.
make a game where you have
capped
to
it.
stop leveling. But we had to make some very interesting decisions of what that means for a multiplayer game for balance. So let's run the next one where we
There
see
will be
it's a
balance.
much higher level character.
Right.
I think it's in the 40s.
Oh, look
so
at that
here we are,
view.
and you'll see a character that's much further along.
That's the mining
Picking
area.
charisma. We can talk about charisma's interesting.
Yeah.
And he had a crossbow.
Here's a perk that lets mutations
see
act
that?
better with groups.
Okay.
And so you can pick any perk that you meet the requirements for when you level up. There's no randomness there. And here's what it looks like with a character that's further along. We've upped the cap for each special to 15 from 10. That allows better balance for which cards you're equipping. And the cards right now go from 1 point up to 5 points in power. And then as you level up, more cards become available.
I've got a bunch of questions about
Okay,
that, but I
leave it
won't.
on there and
no,
chat
no?
a little bit. Keep going.
Okay. But I wanted to ask about charisma. Should I ask that later? About
All the
we can talk
charisma
about that
stuff
now.
seems to be like
Chris,
team-based.
how does charisma work in an online game? If we're not talking about NPCs that you can influence, what does charisma do for you?
That was a very interesting discussion amongst the team to try to figure out what do we do with charisma. But it made sense in a multiplayer game that a player that invests points in charisma and collects those cards, they can share those cards with their teammates. So we've developed a system where that player that invests can become the person that makes your entire team more powerful.
We can use
by
you.
sharing those cards. We did throw a few cards in there for the single player. I think we have one as Lone Wolf, as I recall.
Lone Wanderer.
Oh, Lone Wanderer, right. So if you can still pick some charisma cards if you're more of a solo kind of player, but the person that plays in groups all the time will probably invest more there.
Cool.
Yeah. And you probably saw before, again, when you level up, you get, these are the cards that come into the sets you can pick from when you're level 4 or 5, whatever.
Right.
We also experimented with, well, how do we add some more fun to it and give you more choices? And so we have added, because they're cards, perk card packs. And every few levels, initially every 2 levels, you get a perk card pack. And that has 4 random cards. Again, you could have picked these, but it gives you some more interesting choice that you might not have picked to give you some flexibility in your character. And then later on, you get them every 5. But let's look at a perk card pack opening, because they're a ton of fun.
Oh, it's RNG. You have to, like, open card packs. Oh, I don't know. Oh.
We do have gold. That one's great.
That's ruined it.
We have gold cards that animate. Of course, you get a joke and a stick of gum.
Nice.
And the gum, actually, for fun, is a very slight. It reduces your hunger for a while if you chew the gum.
Nice.
And so they're a ton of fun. When you hit that level and you're like, oh, it's level 6.
But that
all right,
gambling idea that every other game does.
And then also see like, okay, I got these other ones. Is there something I want to swap out? And that's something good to talk about. Is the swapping of the perks.
Right, because you mentioned that the packs help you discover something you might not have known.
You'll be able to buy them.
How flexible is the system, Jeff?
Sorry, Gary. You can swap out perks anytime.
It's not pay to win, but it's pay to have all the customizable options.
You get a point in that special, which is the pool
of points
isn't it? You can slot perks into. You also get to pick 1 perk per level. Generally, you'll pick the perk from the special you chose, but you can also pick other perks if you have available points. And then these are wild cards. So every 2 levels from level 1 to 10, and then every 5 levels after, you'll get one of those perk packs. And what they allow you to do is to experiment with some other builds and cards you might not normally have played. Remember, you do start with 1 point in each special, so you will have unused points from the beginning too, where you can try just slotting these in right off the bat. What we have found is that allows players to go, hey, what are these luck perks? And why do I really want to search containers for extra ammo? And as you play a survival game, you go, wow,
but I need to buy 10 more packs before I can get the perk to lockpick or something.
You can also share
is that what it's going to be like?
You have perks to share ammo, and you share that on your team. Every member of the team can then find more ammo and containers.
Yeah, but how do I make a build guide
so eventually you're getting, like,
if you don't have the right cards for it?
Food you're finding, or your carry weight's a big deal in this game. A lot of interesting back and forth with developers on how much you can carry or not. And you see those cards at first, you're like, well, that's not as cool as being able to do plus 20% damage with my pistol.
No, I think it's a great system. I think it's
carry more means you'll be able to carry more pistols.
Worrying.
So there's a lot of ways that interplay, and there are so many cards in here, hundreds, and you're able to really do these cool builds and swap things in and out. And then I'm on a team. I have a great perk for this team that you might not want to carry. Lone Wanderer is a perfect example of that. Lone Wanderer, as soon as I play that when I'm playing solo all the time, because it gives me a bonus to my experience and damage. And as soon as I get on a team, I turn that off because I'm on a team now, it doesn't work, and I'll equip a different card that I can share with my team.
So when you say builds, you're not really talking about
I haven't said you buy them,
there and having multiple
but they're random.
decks. You're talking about having more of a baseline and then making little changes here and there quickly and easily. Is that a kind of a correct way of putting it? Or?
Yeah, your character, you're still progressing the way you would expect in an RPG, and it's kind of growing and growing and growing. So it's kind of what Jeff was saying. You're swapping out a thing here or there. The perk packs can also sometimes give you a perk that is, we intentionally do this, you might get 1 or 2 that from a pack of cards that is a higher level than you are. So it's like a few levels in shooting distance. So you say like, oh, I didn't even know that was a perk. Maybe I want to pick agility on my next level.
I wonder if you can respec your character.
Giving me this other perk,
in
that
I
just
sense.
Want to try it out. The other thing is, this is the multiplayer part of it, that when you hit level 50, you don't get to pick any. You don't get to give out a special point anymore.
Okay.
So that doling out strength and all that stops at level 50, but you still get to pick cards. So that gives us a continuing thing where, okay, I hit level 73, and I'm still like, you know what? I never got to pick that perk, because again, there's hundreds of them. I'll go pick that one. I want to try it out. So you're not, but we're still capping the power curve ramp that in our other games, like a Skyrim or a Fallout 4, just like your character gives.
But can you be like level
more
50?
More powerful, and we knew we couldn't really have that.
And then have like 1,000 perk cards.
You talk about the discovery of perks too, and how you might discover.
I feel like there's a cap on that with
points. You might see your friend using one that you never thought you'd use. Have any of you, in your own internal play testing, found a perk that you never thought you would use that you're like, wow, this is really cool? Chris?
All the time.
Any recent examples?
Well, I remember when I first started playing the game, I did exactly what Todd alluded to, or Jeff, where I've always picked the % damage perk. Because I'm thinking, okay, I just want to do more damage.
Yeah,
as I played the game and discovered there's a lot of value in doing things like building up your camp and doing a lot of exploration and gathering resources, I started to actually take perks I would have never picked in a single-player game to reduce the amount things weigh so that I can actually carry more junk. So I can then bring that back to my camp. And I find that I'd swap that out a lot. Like if I'm playing by myself and doing more exploration, I tend to use those kinds of perks. But if I play in a group, we typically have some objective in mind. It's something we want to go and kill, and then I might swap some of those out for the more traditional damage perks.
Yeah, Jeff, anything for you that emerged recently that you didn't think you would use, but now you're using?
I can't think of anything particular. I did get one of those weird mutations the other day, though. They're a lot of fun, too. So I was playing, and all of a sudden, when you have a lot of rads is when you're susceptible to mutations, like in real life. And then I got a mutation called Bird Bone, but I didn't realize I'd gotten it, and all of a sudden I was over-equipped, which is always a frustrating experience in a game. And I'm like, why am I over-equipped? And I looked, and I had this perk, and it let me jump extra high, but it lowered my strength.
I don't know if mutations
so
are
again,
visual.
like the way the dynamic systems work is incredible. And you can spend a lot of time in that perk menu, but remember, it is a live game, so make sure you're in a safe place.
They said before you could keep some mutations, though.
And then I have another question. Who
If
gets
they were,
to
like,
write the
beneficial.
jokes in the gum wrappers?
That is Emil Pagliarolo, or he does all of the
The
jokes.
master of the memes.
He's done that for us for a long time. He wrote the arrow in the knee. That wasn't really a joke.
What?
It became a joke. It wasn't a joke. That poor guy.
What a great story.
Emil wrote all of those.
Not heard that one. We don't know if they're microtransactions yet, guys. I just feel like you'll be able to earn them and buy them.
Some of the
so
questions that
is that
we've
fair
gathered up from the community
in a multiplayer game?
I'm going to call this the thunder
That's my
round.
worry.
Usually we do a lightning round, but we've got a half hour here. We're going to take our time. We're going to thunder through some really tough questions that we gathered up from the community.
Because they're random, so you're going to be like, oh, I'll buy some more so I can get that one perk ESO has.
You guys want to
oh, I didn't
play
get
it,
it.
right?
I'll buy some more. You know, you're going to want to get them faster. That's
Why
like,
can't you
you know,
let them play
the
any
cash
sooner,
grab.
Todd?
There's a lot of chatter.
I'll pack up my stuff.
Look, we want everybody to play it as soon as possible. We're playing it now. There's a lot we have to do, right? There's things that we know we need to change and fix before we get it in everybody's hands.
I think it
And
looks
the
really
other thing
good.
is,
I just want it to
even
be
though people are going
fair
to start playing the
and not
beta in
pay
October,
to get stuff.
this is a game that we're going to be constantly updating. So everybody's feedback is really, really important to us. The beta for us, this is an all new thing, right? So we need to stress test a lot of systems, and that's why we called it the Break It Early test application, because it's going to break.
Oh, you're gonna
we're pretty sure of that. And get ready. And so it's really, we need to
I did a
make
video
sure we're
on stealth
ready
already.
for everybody comes in, it all crashes the first moment. See, I make it sound fun, right? It's going to be really fun. And then, making sure we're ready to fix that really, really fast. And so that we're in a good loop of, hey, here are the issues. Let's fix them and get everybody else in the game as soon as possible.
Elder Scrolls
I want
6
to
is
pick up
single
on something
player.
you said, just to reinforce it. You mentioned that this is a live game. Of course, we're going to continue to work on it. Your feedback still matters. Because I know that was something that I think some of the community were concerned about. Yes, everybody wants to play it sooner than later, and I'm with you. But you will continue to work on this game, or you have plans
You
to
get
continue to work on
random
this game and
cards,
evolve
and
it.
then
It's
from
not
those
like
cards you pick your
it's
perks.
finished, and then you're going to take one little round of feedback. You have lots of thoughts and plans, and we don't want to get into the roadmap, but
And you
Right.
get random cards every few
we
levels.
do have kind of a roadmap in our heads, and this is a game that we think, with the community, is going to be a very different game a year after it's out, and 2 years after it's out, and 5 years after it's out. It's a game in 10 years, 50 years. We have big plans and what we can do with the game and with our community, and the beta is just really the first step.
the first step. The next big one, PvP. I think everybody is excited, anxious, concerned, highly anticipating, nervous. You've talked about it a little bit here and there, but why don't you just take it from the top? How does it work? what's the deal with griefing? How are we going to be able to enjoy our Fallout game?
Explain everything.
How am I going to be able to screw up somebody else's Fallout game?
This is a big
and get
worry
away
for
with
lots
it,
of
or
people.
Any variation on that. I'll just leave it to you to.
This is why I don't go on Reddit.
That's right.
And this is something they can change when the game comes live.
All right, we will do our best to sort of explain where we're coming from with PvP. We agree with those. Like, we have folks in the office, we have that debate, is it a, what is it? Where do we want the players' kind of driving force? Is it a PvE world thing? Is it the other players? And for us, it is both. How can we do both? And so the first thing we'd say is that we want this element of danger. It sounds weird to say, without griefing, which is like, okay, those things are often in conflict. So right now, and you've seen it in some of the E3 videos, when you shoot somebody, you do a little bit of damage. You don't do full damage. It's like an invitation. It's like
so you can't one-shot someone from a mile
well,
away.
And like, that's annoying. But eventually, you're like, yeah, I think we're gonna. And so you do little bits of damage. If you engage, then you're doing full damage. And there's a cap reward based on the player's level. So if the player's really high level, you're going to get more caps from them than if they're low level.
So you can farm high-level players. You can exploit it.
If you want to, after each one of them dies, you can
Leveling
seek revenge,
guide.
which doubles the incentive. So the guy kills you, and you're like, well, that was annoying. Then the game says, hey, if you want to seek revenge, I'm going to give you the double reward. It's like, okay, maybe I want to engage in that.
I already have an idea on how to exploit it.
And that's really, really fun. The issue is when you don't want to engage in it, right? Someone's coming up to you, and they're slapping you and slapping you and slapping you. And you're like, I really don't want to deal with this right now. We have a lot of ways you can get away from them, but we still like it where they do, if they keep going at it, they have the ability to kill you, which sounds terrible, right?
It does.
Simply like, why would you do that?
Sounds really weird.
We like to turn that into a dramatic moment. So the player that kills somebody that didn't want to engage in it, then becomes a wanted murderer. They get no reward.
Yay, murder. Yay.
That's like the first applause of the panel. Murder!
Exactly. So these people cheer
So
for
there's
anything.
no reward. You get no caps. You get no XP. You get nothing for becoming a wanted murderer, except for the kind of social incentives people have online to be assholes.
Right.
Which evidently there's quite a few. So what do we do with that? We turn the assholes into interesting content. So they appear on your map as a red star. Everybody
There's an
sees
arrow
them, and
pointing
they have a
to them.
bounty on their head.
I am an arsehole.
And that bounty comes out of their own caps.
What?
And they can't see the other players. So on the map.
I wish there was. Why not just make a PvP
and we
server?
did this. We had this idea.
That'd be
Like
better.
let's turn it. Like let's make
Like,
them interesting
PvP server,
content.
yes.
And it
No?
is.
Okay, fine.
When this happens, when anybody
better, in
murders
my
somebody
opinion.
while we're playing in the office, everyone sees on the map, and it is like it's awesome.
Otherwise, just snipe you from a
that's
mile
one of my
away.
favorite
Yeah.
stories
You're like,
there. So
nah,
the
I'm
other
not
day
going
we
to
had a
engage
big
in that
test,
because I
internal
can't hit
test.
you.
And we had played for hours, and towards the end of the test, I had leveled up. I had actually started early, and so.
Or if you're a
higher
melee
level than a lot
character,
of
you
the
hit
other
someone
people,
up close, and they're like, nah,
I
I'm
saw
not going to
red
engage in
star,
that
and
because you've got an
I was almost
advantage.
about to log off, and I was
know what I
like,
mean?
oh, now I'm going to get somebody. So I had built a sniper rifle, right? I found a hunting rifle on a super mutant, and I built a little scope, and I extended the barrel, and I was like, I finally get to use this. So I fast traveled near them. Now on the map, remember, you see where they are. It's not super up. It's a little relative, so it's not super pinpointy, but you'll know generally where they are. So I'm sneaking, because when you sneak in our game, your appearance on the map
arsehole.
disappears, no matter what state you're in, except for wanted. So my pip doesn't appear, and I'm sneaking, so I see him in the building, and I see him moving around, and he comes wandering out, and I took his head off with my sniper rifle. And he drops down, I go running up, I loot his junk, I danced, took a picture over his corpse, and logged off.
That's what I would do. So he one-shot someone, but Todd just said you
So-
couldn't do that.
What happens when you die?
I'm really
though?
confused now.
What happens when someone kills you? Like, Chris, why don't you jump in? What, like, if somebody, if
Or
I
is he getting
decide to
revenge on
engage, or even if
someone?
I don't engage, am I punished if I die, or there's got to be something?
For a long time, we tried testing where there was no punishment at all. And that took all the sting
weird,
out of
isn't
death.
it?
People used it to their advantage to travel back to various points, and it didn't feel right. But we didn't want to make it too punitive, because we do expect people will die, and there's no save games like a single-player game. So what happens when you die is you just drop your junk, and junk isn't worthless. You need junk to build things in your camp, or to make better guns, or to make better armor. So what it does is it creates a loop where you go out and explore, you create some junk, and if you happen to die, that's all you drop. You don't lose your awesome power armor or any of the guns that you've collected, but then you have to make a decision.
You lose my
Was that
respect.
enough junk?
That's what you lose.
That I need to go back and get it? Or is that something I can live without? And what people will do is they'll go back to their camp, and they'll put their junk back in their stash, which is safe.
I'm going to camp your junk and kill you again.
Stashes. And we've also seeded the world with stashes as well. So if you know where some of the stashes are, it's always a safe place to store the junk that you've collected.
So just enough so it'll sting,
but
not
not
enough so that it'll really deeply hurt
And
yourself.
it's also a little bit of a reward for if you manage to kill somebody, there's usually something there with them.
Nice.
And the thing with junk is it's nothing that you can't just re-get if you just keep playing. Like, that's that pile of it. But if you just start exploring, you'll collect more. So it's sort of like, well, that was sunk time. Do I want to go back and get it? And it's
The only thing is, if you're like,
happens in
hey, I
PvP,
want to do
so
some
if you kill
PvP
somebody,
now,
their junk drops,
and
you get to pick it up.
everyone
you
you
get the
meet
caps
isn't in the
from them.
mood,
You can take the junk, but
you're just like,
yeah.
But it's just
you lose
a little
money,
grinding time and
basically.
You got it back.
It's just, we like it. We put it in. And it's just enough to make it where before you head into a dangerous area, before this, you just run into a dangerous area. You don't really care. There's no penalty to death. It's like you just fast travel back. And
I think
once we
they've
did
changed
that,
it since
you
they
just
last
stop
spoke.
a little bit like, well, don't want to take a moment and like collect myself, store the junk before I head into danger.
If anyone remembers Fallout 4, screws are very valuable. So if you've got screws in your junk, you want to store them.
Yeah. You can't decide between like this awesome looking gun or a desk fan. They both have equal.
How does respawning work, by the way? If you die in a dangerous area, but can you respawn anywhere? What goes on there?
Respawning always takes. You can respawn anywhere you've unlocked, just like Fallout 4. You can fast travel wherever you'd like. The closest point to you is free, and the entrance to Vault 76 is free. Beyond that, you have to pay caps based on how far away it is from you. So if you decide you want to take that opportunity to go way far to a corner of the map, you're going to pay a small caps cost.
I was thinking of the vault. Going back to PvP, it doesn't kick in until level 5.
Okay.
So that gets people into the game a little bit. And
Level
understanding
1.
it
First
before
thing I'm going to
people
do
start
live on
saying,
stream
"Hey,
is
you wanna
walk to
fight,
the other side of the map.
Because otherwise, they'll just hang out.
Be invincible.
Everyone comes out of the vault.
Come at me.
You would just like set up your camp and all the turrets. That happened for a while.
I guess you
You're like,
get killed by the environment, but still. Should get 100% radiation
For people who have more
walking
questions
over
on
there.
PvP and can already see some exploits that might not be fun, we do allow you to ignore and block players too. So you can actually, when you die, or at any time, honestly, but especially when you die, we have an option there for if you're just done with that, you can ignore them for that session. Then they can't see you on the map. They won't be able to still mess with you generally unless they can find you. But this is a very big game. It's very hard to find people unless you know exactly.
I will find you.
Easily.
And I will block you in a corner.
So your bullets won't do that slap to people. So you don't have to worry about, I'm fighting something, some idiot jumped in front of my bullets and tried to get me in PvP. We're allowing you to turn that off too.
People were abusing that in the studio.
Yeah.
The pacifist flag.
Well, no, they would wait till you go shoot a creature and they would jump in front of the bullet.
Right.
We had our QA team. I asked the QA team, several hundred people, during one of our sessions to be the biggest assholes they can one session. We got a lot of good notes out of that, of things we need to fix.
QA knows how to play the game.
Yeah, they know how to play.
I do have one more question about PvP, which is if you are a higher level character with higher level armor, higher level weaponry, how do I even have a chance? And I get the slap mechanic, but if I want to engage and I'm a lower level character, am I just going to get destroyed?
I just want to
instantly?
destroy you.
We struggled with that. So what we've done is there's two sort of power curves. You have the usual power curve against creatures in the world that you're used to in our games. And then, so if you take a power curve from like low damage to high damage, in PvP we normalize it, okay? So just a knife is gonna come up in damage and the really powerful things are gonna come down. So they feel right, but the death in PvP is quicker, and it works the same for armor.
You want to fast travel? Pay me
so if
caps.
you play other multiplayer games, the guy in power armor with a minigun is obviously going to be harder.
Right.
But if you get the drop on him with a knife, it does kind of
With a knife?
And
Really?
it makes it more fun without it being, well, I have no chance whatsoever. Again, there's still a ramp there. It's just,
Right.
normalized.
Cool. Nukes.
And you get the caps, all right? So that's the other thing is,
Right.
why do I want to go try to kill a level 100 person in power armor with when I'm low level?
Yeah, but if you're a low level, you hit them once with a
way
knife,
higher.
then it only does a little bit of damage. They turn around, they're like, yes, I want to engage in PvP. Just
Very
shoot the
cool.
crap out of you.
It's a little feature.
I don't know if it works that well.
But what happens when we're nuked?
You gotta test it, you gotta play
things
it.
happen. We know that the area gets irradiated, things are destroyed, there's higher level loot, higher level enemies. But let's say I have a camp in that area. What happens to my camp? How soon can I rebuild it? Chris, why don't you jump in?
Yeah, well, first of all, nukes are very cool. All right, they're one of the coolest things that happen in the game.
Here we go.
But we don't want it to be overly burdensome to a player to lose all their stuff. So that we don't. When you nuke a camp, it does destroy the structures. But we've created something called a blueprint system, so that if you spend hours making a really cool house with lots of detail, you can blueprint that house. So it's very easy to replace it in the event that it gets destroyed by a nuke. It also makes it very easy to move your camp. So even if we're not talking about destruction with nukes, if you decide you want to relocate your camp to a different part of the map, and you can pack it all up, and you can put it somewhere. And of course, the terrain is going to be different, but because you've blueprinted your house, then you can usually find a way to jimmy it so that it looks good when you're replacing it. So it's very easy to get back to where you were.
So
The other thing with that is that the camp destruction part is really, it's easy to repair it if you want to leave it where it was, but we did the camp destruction
Yeah, tell me about factions.
It's not really for like, hey, go blow someone's camp up. We realized when we put it in that is a griefing mechanic, is like someone wanders by and then you build a camp and you like imprison them. Now they have no way to get out. So they need an ability to damage the walls just to get out of the prison you have built for them.
Right.
So
I'm going to build a
it
prison.
has less to do with,
It's
hey, we want other players to
7,000
come
walls.
and blow them up. The camp is also good for PvP, where someone engages with you and you lure them back to your camp. There's Ashley Chang in the studio. You can build like musical instruments, and he built his camp, and he's sitting in the middle of a road playing a tuba. And he's on this platform, he's like, burp, 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 burp. And he had built all these turrets in the foliage you can't see. And everyone's just like, this guy in a tuba, like, and then the turrets go, and he's just like killing everybody. He's like, burp, 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 the whole time.
That's so funny.
Awesome. I forget where I was headed with that.
It's not the old-fashioned
I don't know what the answer
style RPG,
Oh,
is
the
it?
camp
right.
intersecting with PvP stuff.
Right.
And the other thing with moving it around, that was key because the game's so big, you come out of the vault and you find a place, you're like, this is where I'm going to build my camp. And then you play like 4 more hours and you're like, I shouldn't, like this view, I like this place better. So people tend to put their camp down, and then as they progress through the map, they are finding new areas, and then they kind of settle in, like, okay, I really like this spot.
I like this
So you
irradiated
move through
swamp.
the world.
I want to
you
build my
meet
house
friends,
here.
You're playing with others. How does communication work? Because I know that you've put a lot of thought into that.
It's
and
not
that's
an
even
MMO,
evolved
no.
a lot in recent
not.
days, months, weeks.
It has. And this was in the E3 stuff where we had the emote wheel we have, where you can emote, and we have the Vault Boy cartoon. It's really fun. We were big on communicating in a nice way with strangers. And we've had some successes there, but we have found that we weren't giving the other players, even if they were strangers, the ability to really be as interesting as we wanted. So now we're adding, we've had voice chat for your teammates, and now if you want to turn on your mic, we have voice chat for all of the strangers.
Wow.
Which
That's
really
gonna
lets
be
them
awesome.
communicate, and it's a very, very different dynamic in the game.
That's going to be funny.
Area-based, so people around
There would be
you
some
will-
guy going around with the tragic
And you can mute
microphone
that,
playing
too.
really loud
Any
music in
interesting
the
chatter around the
background.
office in your own play tests?
Any what?
In your own play tests, any interesting
There's always
chatter?
interesting chatter, and there's always cool photos that people are putting up from photo mode. I mean, it's a really fun game to play with people. I remember it was just a few weeks ago, I got to a point that was really hard, so I waited till lunchtime and then gathered a bunch of people. It's like, hey, you need to come help me with this part. So get a bunch of people logged in at lunch, and then we go and kill the super mutants.
Cool. Let's talk about VATS. How exactly does VATS work? If it's an online game, it's more of a real time. Everything's happening in real time. How does VATS work?
It's real time. We now initially you can't target body parts. That's a perk.
Okay.
Because it's real time, like getting all the parts at first is kind of hard. So we did it where you get the whole body, you get the percentage based on your perception, and it's incredibly, incredibly useful. And so we did that, and it plays really, really well. So we're happy with it.
Yeah, it's not just useful to target and hit enemies, it's also to find them.
Yeah.
So you use that a lot to try to, I heard something shoot at me, where is it? Because obviously the game in certain areas is much more lush than our previous games, so things are very hidey. You don't know quite where they are.
I mean, the thing I personally love about VATS, I'm not the most skilled twitchy player, so it allowed me to become a much better player in a game like Fallout.
I am a good player because it selects body parts
for those
for me
who want to
to
engage
shoot.
in combat, does it still help them in the same way?
It does. Because it's based on your perception, and perception starts at 1 now,
Right.
it's not as useful out of the gate. But then the point is, if you invest, I'm a perception character, those percentages do cross a line where, oh my gosh, I'm definitely more accurate using
Then it turns
this
into a delete
than I am
button.
just doing it on my own. And we try to strike a good balance there.
An easy question. I think we might have even mentioned it in the past, but who's doing the music for Fallout 76?
Enon Zur, who's done the music for our other games, he's amazing. The soundtrack is spectacular.
Yeah.
Awesome. Who is doing the radio will be the next question.
And we have a lot of licensed music as well. So we have more tracks than we've ever had in a Fallout game.
Oh no,
So there are
copyright.
radio stations you can listen to. Something we've loved
Why,
in the
Todd?
series, and it's always fun to go through and say, like, okay, what are the classic tracks we want to have? And then there is an unbelievable amount of just bizarre old 40s music. Like,
Oh, yeah.
there's some wacky stuff. And it's great for Fallout. So sometimes it's like, hey, what's the mood of this song? And then other ones are, hey, this is the song that has, this kind of, the slant on the lyrics as it appears in Fallout when it's post-apocalyptic, make it really fun.
We know Fallout 76 is an online game. This question has come up a lot on places like Reddit. What about private servers?
Well, they're not going to be at launch.
That
We've
is
already
definitely
spoken about
something
that, as
that
well.
we are doing. We're committed to it. Modding for us, it's not just having a private server, it's being able to mod it. So mods for us
I wonder if it'll be
have
separate
really
from
been,
public, like with your
once
character
our games
being-
come out, that's what our hardcore players play. And they're still playing, Skyrim and Fallout 4 are two of the still most popular games in the world, and a lot of people are playing mods. And so that is something that, given the online nature of it, is going to be very, very complicated, but we're committed to it, and we've been, starting to design what that system is going to look like. But it is.
Haven't figured it out
it's
yet. It's going to be
I
a
would say
way
it's
off
a
then,
complicated
isn't it?
problem, but one that we are 100% committed to solving.
I think that wraps us up. I think we got through the questions
Is that
we
it?
had. Any last words for the audience about Fallout 76?
I
what
have
you're
1,000
excited about,
questions
what
for
you
you,
want
Todd.
people to experience?
I just can't wait to see all these people in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. We can't wait to play with you guys.
Can't wait to kill you.
I would say really it's seeing everybody here and what our fans have meant to us. This is part of our excitement. Whenever we do a game, we try to make the game that we would really want to go out and buy ourselves. And this one is very, very different for us. We know it's different for our fans. But it's also the first game that we can really experience with them. And that part of it
That is awesome. I like that.
is really important to
Good
us.
idea.
And I don't think people really understand how exciting that is for everybody at all the studios.
Yeah. It's exciting for all of us. Thank you, Todd, Jeff, Chris. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for being here.
We
Fallout
got a
comes
tiny
out-
amount of
Fallout
gameplay there,
comes out
guys.
November 14 on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. We'll be sharing a lot more information soon. Thank you, and a big round of applause for our panelists.
Thank you.
They were like, yeah, we're going to have gameplay. Shows like 3 minutes, literally. I mean, they weren't giving any surprises there, were they? Man, okay. So I've got a few things I want to go over with you guys. First, let me know if you like your thoughts in the chat there. I think it's interesting. The biggest thing I want to talk about, I'm going to turn the volume down on here, is probably the perk cards, because that's where I saw the microtransactions coming into play. Todd previously said that all of the microtransactions will be aesthetic, but you can also, and anything that you can buy, you can also get in game through, like, you know, progression. That's what he said. I think that's kind of disguising the fact that these perk cards we get, every few levels you get perk cards. Oh, Quake, don't want to watch that. Every few levels you get perk cards, and these perk cards are then used to pick your perks. You can, so obviously he said first you put some things into your player's stats, or your special stats like strength, perception, and so on, and then you get to pick your perk cards. They didn't speak about factions, I know, we'll talk about that in a moment. I mean, before they said that you have player-owned factions. But you have these perk cards and you can select them. And then what you do is you put them together, come up with your own character build based on these cards. You can only rank up to a max level of 50, which means you start off with all your special skills at level 1, is what it seemed to be, and then you level up all of those to 10. And, well, you can level them up, but at a max level of 50, you can't level them up fully. And we have a bunch of perk cards, but you carry on leveling, you carry on earning these packs of perk cards. So what you essentially get is a random, like, build setup. You might get a different amount of perk cards where it's like you kind of have to play the game in this certain way because these are the cards that you have. And if I, for example, make a build video on, like, this is the best melee build, and you guys are like, hey, I'm missing like 5 of these perk cards. So you've either A, got to grind for them, you've got to like level up your character to get them, or B, you've got to like, this is where I think the microtransactions are going to come in. I'm 99% sure that you'll be able to buy these card packs with microtransactions. I'm like 99% sure that they're going to do that, which is why I was proper like frowning at that section thinking, that's really worrying. I mean, they're going to make a ton of money out of doing that, and I'm sure I'll probably buy some to try and make content for you guys. But, like, I'm 99% sure they can do that, and it's going to be so bad. As I say, you can earn those by leveling up in the game. I don't know how long it would take to, like, level up and get those. But if you can get to, like, level 100, then, you know, you'll eventually unlock a bunch of perk packs. And then, as they say, they're going to be supporting this game for years to come. They'll probably release more perk packs that people can unlock and new stuff to do. So that's a little bit of a sad truth in how I think it's going to work. The next thing I want to talk about is the PvP aspect, because there's like quite a few ways I can see on how to exploit it. So I don't know if they'll have kill cams. I mean, that would be a cool thing I think people would want to add, because kill cams are always awesome. But like, if you have the system, so basically someone comes up to you and they hit you, and that does only a little bit of damage is what we were told, and then if they then, you can choose whether you want to engage in the combat or not. Now the first thing I think is, if that player is a melee player and they come up to you and hit you and you're like, I'm a range guy, I'm not gonna accept this fight because you're standing right next to me. So it puts you at a bit of a disadvantage if you're a melee guy, unless you shoot someone from a distance and then run over to them. Or, the other hand, if you're in power armor and you've got a machine gun and someone wants to like stealth attack you, because that's the only way you're going to kill like a higher level player in power armor. And then they're like, do I want to accept this combat against this level 3 player? Yes. And then they just turn around and mince you. It's kind of a bit like, I don't know how well it's going to work in that sense. But my main concern was that another player can kill you by just literally beating on you. The only negative repercussion is that they then get a bounty on them. We don't know how much that bounty is. We know that the caps of that bounty come out of their own pocket, which is really cool sort of mechanic, I guess. But it punishes you going out and killing players that don't want to engage in PvP. But in my opinion, why not then just have a PvP server where it's like, join, like you just get an option when you search for your server. Do you want to go into a PvP server, or do you want to go into one where everyone's friendly and you can't kill other players and you'll work together? Do you want that or not? And you can say, yes, I do want that, or no, I don't. And I think the reason Bethesda haven't done it that way is they want an element of risk that you could die. And I get that, you're in the wasteland and stuff, and they want that survival aspect in a sense. I can kind of get it. So they've gone for this approach to it, which means that players can kill you, even if they're like max level or not. As long as you're over level 5, you can get killed by the players, whether you like it or not, whether you engage in the combat or not. And obviously then that player will get a bounty on their head for anyone to come and kill them. They'll be highlighted on the map for someone to come and kill them, almost like a challenge, I guess. So then, people are free to basically snipe that player, I guess, from a mile away and kill them, I suppose. That's how it works. One thing I was thinking, if you wanted to sort of exploit it, though, is you could quite easily, like, say, for example, me and my girlfriend are going to be playing this game. So I could have a max rank character, and then she could be like, okay, I'm going to play a new character. It's gets to level 5, and then she can do PvP. So I come over to her, and I hit her, and I kill her, and then it's like, hey, do you want to seek revenge on this person? She says yes. So Todd said that you get double the experience if you manage to revenge kill someone, or double the reward. So then she comes up to me, I'm like max level 50, and she's like level 5, she kills me. You could so easily use that as like a way to dramatically level up really quickly. I mean, that's just my first initial thought at a way you could exploit it with your friends to level up your characters. Do you honestly expect a full single-player RPG like Bethesda Game Studios released Fallout 4? No, I mean, well, it's not going to be that, is it? For one reason, this game has quests in, apparently. They're not given by any NPCs, and in that sense, they haven't hired any voice actors, apart from like some of the robots that might be around the game. The only thing we know about questing is that we're going to be given quests and tasks by the Overseer, and it more seems like it's going to be sort of like just something to do than like having an elaborate story like Fallout 4 or Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas with multiple choices and avenues to explore. The story here comes with just messing about and playing with your friends. Don't expect anything more than that, in my opinion. I think this is just a multiplayer sandbox. That's what it kind of sounds like at this point. I mean, I'm sure the locations, as they've said before, are all going to have their own stories and stuff, as any other Fallout game, for you to investigate and clue find and understand what went on in that location. But it's not going to be a massive elaborate story like we've seen in other Fallout games. I don't think that's what we're going to get. If you're going into expecting that, I think we might be disappointed. I think the card system and the skill system, apart from what I said about the potential microtransactions there, is an awesome idea, though. I think it's fantastic in a multiplayer game of having a way to balance it. And hopefully we can respec our characters. I'm sure they'll allow us to do that, because I know it's something that, people don't want to be tied into a choice. I know you can respec your cards, but can you respec your special stats is what I'm interested in. Holotape quests, how exciting, ... I'm trying to be hopeful. I still have a lot of questions. And if anything, this interview gave me a lot more questions. So I'm glad they did it, because it answered a lot of my questions, a lot of my worries that I had. And there's also the fast travel as well. So if you like, spawning at Vault 76 is free. So you can always spawn there. It's kind of like a hub, a starting area hub for the game. The only thing is, I don't want to leave. You always have that pivotal moment in any Fallout game where you leave the vault, you have this amazing view as the sun comes out of your eyes and you've just been underground for all this time and you have this incredible view. I don't want to leave the vault on day one and there to be 30 players just standing around doing random emotes. I don't know, it kind of ruins my immersion, but I guess it's a multiplayer game, so I get that, What about the other vaults? I'm sure there will be other vaults, but in terms of the spawning mechanic, you spawn at that vault, it's free. If you venture off further, I think it's going to be there's higher level zones effectively where you get worse enemies. So on day one, I'm literally going to be live streaming this game on here and Twitch. Find my Twitch channel, link below in the description if you haven't already followed. I stream a lot of other games there, like Hunt Showdown recently, if you guys are interested. But what I'm going to do is just literally go straight away and just explore the world and the wilderness and see what we can find. Did they say something about spawning at your camp? I assume that you'll be able to fast travel to it. I mean, I can't see why you wouldn't. For example, I was thinking, hey, can I just adventure off into the wilderness, put my camp at one side of the map, have my my vault 76 spawn at the other corner of the map, and then I can go wherever I like. Obviously, the further you go otherwise, you have to pay more and more caps to spawn there, which is a bit annoying if, like, you just get grief killed by another player at the other side of the map. And, you know, I could sit in the top corner of the map just killing other players, like low-level players or something, and then they would have to pay a lot of caps to actually get back there. So it's not ideal, is it? Private servers not going to be available at launch, and they still said a lot about how they were working on the different mechanics of how mods were going to work with it and stuff. So to be honest, I don't think it's going to be that soon after release. And I think also, even if it was, they intentionally wouldn't release it anytime soon. And they're going to have public voice chat, which is going to be so fun. I can't wait for that. That's going to be hilarious. Hopefully there's, like, not too many people, like, you know, running around with loud music and just ruining it and swearing and stuff. But, you know, I think it would be quite interesting if they have that, especially if it's like push to talk or something. How will debt work? Like, yeah, for example, if you kill somebody and you don't have enough caps, what will happen? I don't know. I assume you just be down to 0, and then the other person will get whatever reward you had. I don't know what weapons they'll have. I assume they have all the classic ones, but we also saw for a fraction of a second that there'll be crossbows, which is pretty cool. And even there was even a perk card I spotted which said, like, unique weapons, so maybe even throwing spears and stuff like that. Do you think that they should allow you to buy individual cards? We might see, like, a perk card pack for, like, melee characters that you can just buy. Obviously, their argument for that will be like, I don't think it will be like that. I think they will make you buy packs. Well, you know, you can either level up and grind the packs, or you can buy the packs, and it will be that RNG loot box system that we've seen in Battlefront, like EA and, you know, all these other companies are doing, because it's really addictive to gambling. And I think, to be honest, it kind of preys on people that, you know, do that kind of stuff. This RNG loot system, I fucking hate it. I think it's a complete joke. I can't believe Bethesda are doing. Well, I know we don't know if they're doing that, but they probably are. I mean, they need a monetization model with this game because they need to support it for a long period of time. I think that's going to be how they do it. You know, I really do think that. I'm not so sure about the bounty system. It's not really fair. It's kind of like a punishment for assholes, but at the same time, I just think just have a PvP server. I mean, maybe they'll change it, but I feel like, you know, like I said, they want that element of risk, so it's how they want their game to be. I kind of makes sense, but it's a bit weird to me at the same time. I'm sure there'll be vaults where you can investigate the story of them, but it will be kind of like there'll be terminals and clues and notes, and you'll get the story like that. You won't get the story through like NPC dialogue, and, like, you know, you won't meet all these people and speak to them, and then they'll give you quests with elaborate details, and you have really interesting characters. I mean, in that sense, they've saved a lot of money. Thank you for the becoming a member, Andrew. Appreciate that, man. You get early access to my videos now. So, okay, so I got a question. Let's say we run out of ammo. How is the trading system going to be work? Yeah. I mean, apparently you can have trading between players. Don't know how that's going to work at all, to be honest. I always found, especially like the difficulty, like there's not going to be a difficulty. It's going to be like a standard thing for everyone, I think. So, you know, you won't have some players playing on like bullet sponge difficulty and the other players playing on easy difficulty. It'll be like, he said, a curve of the enemies. I hope they have like raid bosses though, you know, like events. That would be quite cool. What about if you and your team kill, will all let you get a bounty? What if you and your team... I think it's just like, I don't know, if like me and 4 people, currently they have parties of 4, that may be subject to change, but we know that they have parties of 4 friends, all come up to one fucking person and just like build a settlement around them. You know, they have to like destroy it to get out, and then we can kill them or something like that. I don't know. You could probably abuse it quite a bit, but I'm sure that the internal testing is hopefully like, you know, sorted some of this stuff out. They should just add cosmetics that are unobtainable, and that would be a better way to play instead of pay to win cards. People are saying pay to win. It's not necessarily pay. I don't know if it's going to be pay to win, but in a sense, you'll probably unlock some key cards. But for example, to get like this way of playing or try out this unique build I've made, you might not have the right cards. And it's just like you either have to grind for it or you can buy it to get it faster. I don't know how much of a pay to win system it is. And to be honest, I don't know how interesting PvP is going to really be in this game. Is because, I mean, I think for some people, we're thinking, hey man, is this like PUBG, but just Fallout based? But I guess there's a whole other game world to explore, and you know, you got to remember that too. What do you think we'll have to do to obtain power armor? I'm not sure. I think we might be able to craft it. I don't know how it works if you want to buy stuff from other players though. That's another interest. I mean, I got so many questions more that I would have loved to have known from this Q&A. Sadly, we didn't get everything answered that I would have thought. But thank you, Carl Ramrow, for the donation. It would be cool if instead emptying perk packs that you scrapped the cards you don't want for points and buy packs with those points. Yeah, I guess that could be a way of doing it. But, you know, I'm sure they'd have the microtransactions there just because they need to have a constant income and payment model. And that's the best way, the most obvious way I can see of them doing that. So how do you stop people from stealing your stuff? They can't steal your stuff. So if you die, you just die. That's it. And if you've like carried around some junk and stuff, what they said, like screws and components for crafting, they can then pick that stuff off your body. So that's kind of like the loot mechanic. But you keep all your weapons and everything else. The only thing you lose is the progress you've made. So you'll have to pay to spawn at a location that's further away from Vault 76. Closer you spawn there, the less money it costs, and that's basically how it works. I think a lot of people thinking about the bad experiences so much. I don't think Bethesda wants to ruin their game. Yeah, no, I agree with you, Jesus Juice. I think you're definitely in the right there. I'll be uploading the stream after, so you can watch it through if you haven't already. What if they made servers based on difficulties? I don't think they'll do that. I think it's just going to be like, why not have a PvP server? And, you know, earlier though, in the NoClip documentary, they spoke about doing deathmatch modes, and that's going to be in the game. They haven't spoken about it at all apart from that yet. But they were going to have like 4-on-4 death matches where you both teams agree to fight, which is a lot more exciting. We even saw a little bit in the cartoon clip they made about like teams of 3 fighting each other. But they even mentioned in the NoClip campaign about 12v12 death matches. So, I mean, it'd be cool if you're like, hey, let's try out some PvP, and you can like queue for a match, or like, I think it would actually be really good if they did it like RuneScape, where there's like a wilderness zone past this point, and it's just like PvP. And if you walk in this area, other players can kill you or snipe you or something. And that would be like having a PvP zone or server would be a good idea in my opinion in that sense. I mean, I'd quite like to try it out, you know? I'd quite like to try out a good PvP build, make a good PvE build. You know, I like that stuff. But I want to be in the mood for PvE. You know, I don't want to be like... Sometimes we just like to explore. And sometimes we don't want to be engaging in other players and stuff. And that's fine. But this way they've done it, it's kind of like, if I want to be a dick to you, I can still kill you. And there's nothing you can do about it. Unless you fight me back. Which I don't think is ideal. I don't know. They've clearly tested it in their own office. When it gets released to the mass audience, I'm sure they'll realise that a lot of people play the game very differently. They can make changes to it, though. Yeah, old school RuneScape, the game of middle school, my childhood. Such a great game. First MMO I played, I think. DLCs are all going to be free. There's going to be like continuous updates to the game and stuff. They've already spoken about that. All right, guys, I think I've spoken about everything I want to talk about today. If you haven't already, subscribe, press the bell icon. Next time I'm live streaming it, I'll let you know. And I've also got a Skyrim video I recently released, which is really funny, so check that out on the channel. And I've also got some cool Fallout videos as well on the channel as well. So if you haven't seen that, go and check it out. Follow me on Twitch as well, because I live stream quite a few like FPS games and stuff. I've also got a second channel where I'm going to start putting highlight videos and other stuff on there that isn't necessarily Fallout or Skyrim related, but sometimes is. We'll see. But thanks for watching, guys. If you guys want to play with me, definitely subscribe, follow, and all that stuff. And I will see you on the battlefields, on the bloody battlefields covered with dead bodies of other players. Thank you for watching, guys. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye. Have a fantastic day.